Hi, this is Jim from Trek World.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Remember that in all of these videos, there's going to be a link in the description that you can go to where you will actually be taken to an affiliate link on Amazon showing you the availability of the books that I've been discussing.
So summer of 1979, Cinefantastique magazine wanted to write a story on the making of Star Trek, the motion picture. So what they did was they approached Paramount, and their author was given unrestricted access to production while it was still going. Okay, so the older ones of us in the thing here, sounds suspiciously like Stephen E. Whitfield from The Making of Star Trek. Same deal. We're making the movie. You can do whatever you want. You can print whatever you like, but of course we're going to have first right of refusal if we object to something. Gene, the ability to say yes or no for Stephen on The Making of Star Trek. And Stephen's experience was that Gene really wasn't very communicative in the back and forth between the two. So he would send something over to Gene, and Gene might possibly throw one or two edits in and send it back to him. So at the end of the day, it actually worked out better for us, I think, in all honesty, because it gave us an unvarnished look at what was behind the scenes. Now, ironically, years later, the exact same scenario would be offered to Stephen again, but this time he would go by his real name, which was Stephen Poe. Whereas the first time through, because he was working at an ad agency, I believe at the time, because he was there actually representing AMT to the TV series when he got involved with Star Trek. And he got fairly involved indeed, because not only did he get involved with the Galileo and the creation of the Enterprise model and all that other neat stuff, but he also was the first person that Gene gave control of Star Trek Enterprises to after Bjo and her husband. So anyhow, out go Bjo and in comes Stephen. And then, of course, Stephen gets pushed out as well when it comes time for Majel to take it over. The author says, given to understanding by my Trek fan friends, they would wish to read as detailed an account as possible. I interviewed 60 participants in the creation of the film, from Roddenberry and his original cast to director Robert Wise, science fiction advisor Isaac Asimov, composer Jerry Goldsmith, screenwriters, set designers, special effects technicians, on and on, up to and including the young executive in charge of production, one Jeffrey Katzenberg. I edited the material like a montage of memories, as if all 60 people were holding a round-robin seminar about the making of the movie whenever possible. I let them tell the story in their own words. Quote, even given that it was impossible to complete this magnum opus in time for the film's opening December of 1979, as I'm sure your readers are well aware, the special effects teams were working on Star Trek the Motion Picture literally right up to a few days before its premiere. My editor at Cinefantastique still had cause to regret the amount of time that I took on this assignment. By the time I was finished, the picture was long gone from theaters, and the completed manuscript totaled some 1,800 pages. More than enough for 3 books, let alone. So the Cinefantastique kept saying, oh, you know what? We will print this. It never got printed. Okay. There were 2 other occasions in history where it was believed that this book might get printed, and neither came to pass. But it was determined, I guess, somewhere around 2014, just in time for the 50th anniversary, of course. It was determined that the author, one Preston Neal Jones, actually had a copy of this manuscript, and he scanned it in and he OCR'd it and word corrected it. And then he published it both in paperback and in Kindle form through Amazon, I believe. Creature Features Publishing, but I think it's in Amazon. I think they print through their print on demand. I'm not sure. And so in 2014, it was announced. So if you go looking for this book is called Return to Tomorrow. Most people are completely unaware that such a detailed book was ever written with information like this from what they did when they made the movie. Because let's face it, the Susan Sackett, Gene Roddenberry thing, the making of Star Trek, the motion picture, interesting, cute, marketing tripe. Okay, it didn't really do what we got in the making of Star Trek. This little fellow did. but it was very, very limited production. Anyhow, take a look beside the $9.95 Kindle. Paperback, $450. 3 used copies from $125, 1 new copy from $450, and a collectible copy, God knows what that means, from $400. This is another one of those that if you see it on eBay or whatever, the prices are going to be ridiculously high. It is 801 pages. There are no illustrations, period. No photographs, no drawings, no nothing.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the recent video you done on YouTube, USS Enterprise, the origin story of Star Trek's iconic model. It's very informative. There are things about the left side of the model that I never did know, and you have just really done a lot of good research, and you have the best channel there is on anything, including about Star Trek. Thank you.
There were, over the decades that this thing sat waiting for publication, Cinephistique had quite a bit of artwork that was supposed to be intermixed with the document when they reprinted it in their magazine, which never occurred. Over the years, that's all gone. And the decision was made by Neal that, no, you know what? I'm going to print the text, nothing but the text. The cover, which was, this little fellow you see, the Return to Tomorrow, that one he actually kept because that one was specially commissioned for the story and he still had it. But everything else got jettisoned. So when I say it's 801 pages, it is 801 pages of solid text. So what does that tell me as a reader? One, if I'm a picture book person, I'm probably not going to go anywhere near this, even at $9.95. And the best advice I can give you, if you have a book for like The Making of Star Trek or any other Star Trek book, and all you've done is looked at the pictures and didn't actually read it, then this book might actually be a bit much for what you're willing to invest your time into. However, 60 contemporary reviews from 1979, interviews, including interviews with Isaac Asimov and Jerry Goldsmith. Now, I remember hearing Isaac, he was a big, big fan of Star Trek. And I know that throughout the 70s, it was quite often something that he would ask about. I'm pretty sure he wrote a TV Guide article on Star Trek at some point in there. Maybe after the conventions. But I don't think I've ever seen anything from Jerry Goldsmith. At one point, Jerry Goldsmith actually refers to one of the people that assists him on his team. Now, one of the things they did do when they decided to make this available to us is they decided to go through and make sure that any people who were cited, Rick Price Miniatures, whoever else, were cited correctly. Neal changed none of the verbiage of what he had originally written, but they did pass through it, try to identify all of the people and make sure that they were attributed correctly. And the reason I'm even bringing this up now is because Jerry Goldsmith's assistant or professional or whatever, they were never able to identify that person. Now, as a result of this, though, the book has an absolutely impressive index at the rear, which should not be a surprise for anybody. Here's a list of the people that he interviewed and put in this book. William Shatner, Leonard, obviously the cast. I don't have to go through all of that. Robert Wise, Gene, Alan Dean Foster. I don't know if I've ever seen an interview with Alan Dean Foster prior to the release of Star Trek the Motion Picture. Because, of course, he did not do the novelization. Gene did. He did the novelization, I think, going forward from that. So that's interesting. Jeffrey Katzenberg, Harold Michelson. I'm literally going down this. Robert Fletcher, John Pavel. I'm just looking at this point for names that jump out. Isaac Asimov, Fred Phillips, Robert Bacall, Andrew Probert, Michael Miner. Okay. All three of these names end up being names that we would recognize as the years go on. I think that Mike Miner was the first one that I seem to remember, but we are going back, to 1979. But I definitely remember Miner and Probert very, very prominently in what I knew in the pre-internet days. And I also was familiar with Robert McCall, but for whatever reason, Mike Miner and Andy Probert seem to be the ones that jump out after all these years. Dave Stewart, James Dow, Brick Price. Okay, so Brick Price we'll talk about. Property Master. Brick Price was involved in a lot of the attempts to build some models and stuff back in the Robert April times, which I'm hoping there's some in your information in that here. Yeah. Alan Harding, Sam Nicholson, Paris, Braveheart. Some of you guys may recognize some of these names that I don't. B. Joe Trimble and Susan Sackett. Okay. So I just wanted to give you that as an idea so you get some type of clue as to the people that are in here. So if I haven't already said it 2 or 3 times before, I'll say it one more time. Go buy this thing. The Kindle software is free. If you have a Kindle, then God bless you. If you don't, go buy this thing. The Kindle software is free. If this is the only thing you ever buy on Kindle, it's going to be worth it because you're listening to this. You have the same likes and dislikes that I do for the most part for some of the information that is not readily available or even has the potential to be lost. What if, unfortunately, Mr. Jones had passed away before this? Russ Simpson, Mark Stetson, Andrew Probert.
So now let's get up with the fun stuff, like this right over here.